In this video, we'll be starting with the social science, that's geography for the class 8 standard, and that is the resources and the development. So, under this resources and development, there are 5 chapters that tells about the first chapter. It's about the resources. The second chapter, it's about the land, soil, water, natural vegetation, and wildlife resources. The third chapter tells about the mineral and power resources, and the fourth chapter is about agriculture. Fifth chapter is about industries, and sixth chapter is about human resources. So in this video, I'll be starting with the first chapter, that is resources. So what are resources? So what is a resource? So resource is nothing but when there is a need. So anything that can be useful for us. So that is like when we are thirsty, we used to sip up the water. And when there is a need to use electricity in our home, we definitely go for it. We use electricity. And when there's a need to transport, travel or from one place to another place, we definitely use the auto rickshaw or any transportation vehicle. And when there is a need for the exam to study, we use our textbook. So these all are, comes under the resource. So totally, it's like anything that can be used to satisfy a need, that is a resource. So water, electricity, rickshaw, vegetable, and textbook. So these all are very common. They have all been used by ourselves. So they have a utility. So what is utility? Utility or its usability is what makes the object or any the substance that makes a resource. So does the resource have something via the value? Yes. And how the resource, something will become a resource. It depends on the value. Uh, this value, the resource, all the resource have some value. Some resource may be having more important and some may not having much that much important. So what is value? So value means is it's nothing but a worth. So for some resources, they have very economic value of, and some they do not have. For example, the metal, let us take a metal. Metal have an economic value. It's a high demand in the market. But in the same way, in the same time, if we take a beautiful landscape, that may not, but both are very important to satisfy the human need, but the value may differ in the resource. So some resources, as I said, they are like become very much important, like economically valuable, and that value it depends on the time. So at the current time, there is a value for the metal, but in the future we may not sure about that. Uh, for any resource, it is the same. But for some resource, like for example, the grandmother's own remedies for something that doesn't have any commercial value right now, today, but it can be patented or it can be sold by a medical firm tomorrow. After that, it may get economically valuable. But at the current time, at the present time, there is no commercial value today. So this it tells about the time judges the value for the particular resource. Also, the technology matters a lot. Technology. So time and technology are a very important factor uh, to change the resource to be more valuable or less valuable. It depends on the technology. So what is technology? Technology is about the knowledge, the skill set, or doing things, making things in a different way, or utilizing the thing to be done in a different way. So both are very interrelated. That helps for the need of the people. So people themselves, they are the most important resource here, because it all depends on the people, their ideas, their knowledge, and their invention and discovery. So these discoveries and these inventions that may lead into the creation of the more resources. For example, each discoveries or the invention that will definitely leads to many others. For example, the discovery of the fire, this led to the practice of the cooking and other processes. And while the invention of the wheel, this gave rise to the development of the new modes of the transport. In this way, it helpful for the innovation for the new practice. So let us know the types of resource. So here, the resources are generally classified into two types. One is a natural, other is a human-made resources. So what is natural resources? Natural resources which can be obtained by naturally from the nature, and this can be used without any such modification. A little modification it might require. There are many examples like air we breathe and the water in a river, lakes, and the soil, mineral. These are the examples. Let us know more in detail about this. Yeah, so these are like free gifts from the nature. So natural resources, this can be broadly classified into the renewable and non-renewable resources. So let us know the renewable resources. These are the resource which gets renewed, uh, and which is like unlimited, and that are not affected by the human activities that might like such as like solar and the wind energy, but the careless use also of such renewable resources like water, soil, or for the forest, that can affect the stocks of the renewable resources. So the coming to the non-renewable resources, so these are the resources which have a very limited stocks. Once the stocks gets exhausted, it takes a thousands of years to be renewed, to be used. And since this period is very much more than the human spans, it like thousands of years it required to get that resource. Yeah. So coming to the human-made resource. Yeah. So human-made resource is nothing but the resource, the human, the people, they go and use the natural resources for any other purpose, like to for the construction, to make the buildings, bridges, roads, machinery, and vehicles. So these all are known as human-made resource, and the technology what they use, that is also a human-made resource. So human resource here people plays a very important role because it's they has to use their skill set for to make it the human resource. So they make the best use of the nature to create a more resources when, but this can be done only when they have the knowledge and the skills. That's known as a human resource development. So people are very important and people are the human resource over here. And the skill set plays a very important role, much more to complete this. And the last final topic is conserving resources. So what is conserving resources? So this tells that what happens if there is no water to drink or eat, and if there is no trees, what happens? There is nothing is there to eat and drink. If there is no water, no trees, nothing there to drink and eat. So this tells about it's very important to conserve the resource for the future purpose. So using the resources very carefully is very important, and that might give us some time to get renewed. That is called resource conservation. So that is the balancing the need to use a resource and to conserve them for the future. That is called sustainable development. So, under the sustainable development, here each person will plays a role in this sustainable development. It can be done by one people or one person. They can't be done this. So here, each person has to contribute by reducing consumption, a limited use of that, and recycling and reusing it. So ultimately, it makes a very difference for all our lives to live. So it is about the limitations of usage. So that helps us definitely. And what are those? So for the future purpose, so like all uses of renewable resources or sustainable, it should maintain uh, they has to maintain with a balance, and we have to conserve for the future, and the diversity of the life of the earth is very conserved, and the damage to the natural environment system is should be minimized. So coming to the answer the question, so why are resources distributed unequally over the earth? Yeah, the resources are definitely they are distributed unequally because of the physical factors. So we can't tell that gold is available in everywhere over the place in India. So that is available in only the particular region, particular place that suits there. So it all depends on the physical factors such as like altitude and climate conditions and terrain regions. Yeah, the second question, what is a resource conservation? Resource conservation is nothing but the maintain the balancing of the need for a resource and to conserve them for the future purpose. That is what resource conservation, the sustainable development. And the third question, why are human resources important? Human resources are very important because it has to make the use of natural resources and to create other resources with the use of, for example, the iron ore. So there has to know there has to get some skills to recognize that, and to there has to be educated to know the how the iron ore is being used for the iron. And what is sustainable development? This is sustainable development is very necessary for the future saving purpose, future development purpose.